When I think about freeways, I often think about the places the highways can take us, but never really about what we demolish to make way for them. One of these demolished places was the original site of the Bon Air Hospital, a community institution where thousands of babies were born and thousands of mothers received maternal care. Its original building stood somewhere here on Grand and 111th Streets, but it's far more likely that locals are familiar with its replacement location at 120th Street and Broadway. Regardless, this is a hidden story buried deep in South Los Angeles, specifically under this freeway and these unassuming townhomes. The story of Bon Air Hospital begins as a tale of an ordinary, unremarkable neighborhood hospital in the mid-1900s. Well, that is until one nurse from San Pedro dreams a new path for this institution in the burgeoning Southwest Los Angeles community. Unlike hospitals like the South Hoover Hospital or the Broadway Hospital, local papers did not report on the Bon Air Hospital when it was built or opened. In fact, the earliest mention I found of the hospital was a permit submitted in Los Angeles in 1926, where the original owner, M.L. Lewis, planned to build an extension to one of the hospital's private rooms. While the hospital practically went unnoticed during its first decade, the most monumental shift in the Bon Air Hospital history occurred when registered nurse Evelyn Hacker became the new owner of the hospital. She focused primarily on maternal cases. Hacker, who was a native of Kentucky, moved to the Los Angeles area somewhere around the late 1930s, and as a registered nurse, she facilitated motherhood courses to parents across Los Angeles. Under her maternal care administration, Hacker remodeled the hospital in 1940 with new equipment and an updated clinic to handle emergency cases, while also creating new maternity packages for birthing mothers. Within the first 3 years, more than 1,100 mothers sought maternal care at Bon Air. Hacker also oversaw some unique birth cases. For example, in 1943, the Los Angeles Times reported Hacker delivered a set of twins that weighed 17 pounds collectively, which was thought to be a record at the time, at least for the city of Los Angeles. Pittsburgh Pirates baseball player Dale Coogan welcomed his baby girl at Bon Air Hospital, and Mrs. Yvette Briault, a 41-year-old woman, gave birth to her 17th child at Bon Air Hospital. Despite these incredible stories, the Bon Air Hospital was in the path of the newly planned 110 Freeway and was slated to be demolished in the mid-1950s to make way for the development. The hospital relocated to 120th Street and Broadway and opened its doors in April of 1956. The new Bon Air Hospital, which is practically in the unincorporated community of Athens, cost a total of $235,000, and it contained 32 beds spread across 15,000 square feet. This time, however, the hospital was equipped with medical, surgical, and maternity facilities, and later expanded to include a 24-hour emergency outpatient department. Although Evelyn Hacker, later Evelyn Egan, saved the Bon Air Hospital and transformed it into an even greater version of itself, she sold the hospital in 1959. Somewhere around 1964, Egan became the administrator of the Oak Park Community Hospital on 369 West Manchester Avenue. The Oak Park Community Hospital was demolished in 1989 and was replaced by a storage warehouse, now a public storage, which can be seen right off the Manchester Avenue exit of the 110 Freeway today. Egan died at 57 years old in Willows, California, in November of 1969. In 1972, 2 doctors at the Bon Air Hospital were sued for malpractice damages amounting to $1.4 million after an emergency case where a patient was mishandled and left without the use of his lower body. Herbert Singer was one of the 2 physicians sued. Interestingly enough, that same year, as early as 1972, Bon Air Hospital was renamed the Athens Park Hospital. The hospital operated until the early 1980s, but the hospital and its building and its property was sold at a public auction sometime after July 30th of 1981. In a turn of events that I don't quite understand, Herbert Singer, the physician who was sued in the malpractice case in the 70s, was listed as the owner of the now sold clinic. Reviewing permits, the hospital seemed to be used as a clinic as early as June of 1982. This certificate of occupancy document denoted the property being used as a clinic and community care building as of July of 1983, which I cross-referenced with this ad for Your Family Medical Clinic. Between the late 1980s and the very early 2000s, no permits were filed for the hospital. However, I did find 2 newspaper articles that featured the address of the property. The hospital was abandoned by the start of the 1990s, but later occupied by an adult daycare center, and was also temporarily leased to a homeless shelter organization between 1993 and 1994. In October of 2001, the Herbert Singer and Marlene Trust heirs, the owner of the property, filed a permit to demolish the hospital building. New building construction permits for a series of townhomes were filed by the Herbert Singer Trust in July of 2005, and the City of Los Angeles granted their certificate of occupancy permit in January of 2007 for the completed properties. Right, so these homes on 120th and Broadway were built on top of a hospital. And there you have it. A hospital's legacy buried under townhomes and a freeway in South Los Angeles. If you have any stories about Bonaire Hospital, leave them down in the comment section below, and I'll catch you guys around on the recap.